Yep. All right. We'll circle back to the WNBA momentarily, but let's go on to the Los Angeles Lakers and Anthony Davis, who signed a 3-year, $186 million extension the day he was eligible for it. There is a player option on the final year, and predictably, but just to tie it up, fully guaranteed contract. So I just don't have the energy or concern here to get too worked up about this one, Chris. This is a franchise that publicly and loudly prides itself on compensating the stars who get them the glory that they've rightly gotten in the NBA. They make a whole scene about it. And whether you believe in him or not, whether you're concerned about the injuries, which you should be, or not, this is what happens to top 10 type players, even when they're approaching their mid-30s.
Let me play devil's advocate for this. And people that maybe don't know this or listening for the first time, our producer, Dylan Heiser, is a Lakers fan. So hopefully this makes Dylan's skin crawl a little bit.
If nothing else, it's a test to see how closely he listens while he's editing.
Yeah, Dylan, by the way, Dylan also a Real Madrid fan, so just a real front runner, honestly.
Absolutely.
Real tough. Is this not immediately, though, just one of the riskier NBA deals we have? Considering his injury history, his propensity to be down on the ground and not look right.
Yeah.
And considering that, this is also theoretically maybe maximizing what LeBron's next couple years are going to look like. Is this not immediately one of the most high-stakes extensions we have over the next couple years? I think, obviously, this is what happens, but is there not just, a ton of stakes in this for this working out? And could it's not, implausible that this doesn't exactly work out for AD and the Lakers. That wouldn't be, an unrealistic outcome to me if we're kind of looking at this and saying, this isn't, a slam dunk extension.
Sure.
This is, there is some risk here, which is baked into everything, but I do think there's some risk.
There is risk. There absolutely is risk. This is 3 years atop the 2 he already has. So it goes through 2028, at which point he will be 35 years old.
You're telling, there's no way Anthony Davis at this rate is going to be moving super well at 35. I just don't know what he's going to look like at 35.
Yeah, so let me pin you down on what the particular issue that you're worried about is, because where my mind goes immediately when I hear you ask that question is to timing. As much as that last year, maybe the last 2 years, you're really playing with fire in terms of, is the guy going to be anywhere near the level of value that the salary would indicate? And I can't say yes to that. But there's a world in which that last year, the last 2 years, are on a rebuilding Lakers team that LeBron James doesn't exist in. I mean, in 2028, LeBron James, I would hope, is in a retirement mansion somewhere in the outskirts of Cleveland or LA and just not paying attention to any of this, or he's at Vegas NBA games as an owner. And so that risk is lessened. It's the same thing that why it was okay that they signed Kobe to the giant contract once upon a time. Because it's is Jordan Clarkson getting paid anytime soon in his rookie season or whatever that whole team was? No, it was what else are we going to do with the money? I kind of think that's what they're doing here is that's going to be a transition era no matter what happens. So we might as well keep AD happy, reward him for what he's given us, and figure it out later.
I think that's right. I guess I think what is the turn? I don't really know what the turn. I look. This is maybe not totally fair.
Austin Reeves will be on his second MVP trophy by then. So maybe that's the guy we got to be talking about.
Yeah, I mean it's really the Reeves and AD show more than anything else. But look, let's talk about it this way. Or at least I want to ask it this way. We are in whatever year of AD, right? However many years. It's 2011 draft, right? 2012 draft?
I think this is his, more than 10 seasons.
Okay.
So let's agree.
So I think it's Kyrie's 2011. I think AD's 2012. I'm pretty sure.
11 seasons he's achieved. He's going into his 12th.
For a guy that is going to be the face of the Lakers post-LeBron, at the center point of that transition in some way, do we really have a good grasp of what that looks like? I don't know if I know. Like, some of that will be whatever money comes available. The cap's going to rise. Maybe they go get another star, and it just like doesn't matter. But I have questions, I guess, about like what that transition looks like and how successful that can really be if we just based on what we understand AD is now. I think you're going to need to find like there was so much talk, and maybe this was just talk and posturing and trying to make AD happy or whatever. But think about how much talk there was about LeBron's, like, this is going to become AD's team, LeBron to age gracefully. If you're going to ask me right now to power rank who the most important player in the Lakers is to win a title next year, like, it's not AD, it's LeBron. So, like, what does that look like when LeBron is retired, producing films? Maybe he owns the Vegas franchise, right? What does AD look like in that role? That's just grew. It's just like a massive unknown to me if we're processing this out.
Yeah, I don't think he's the best player on whatever that team is.
That would just scare. That just would scare me.
No, 100%. And I don't even think we're on opposite sides of this. I think you're just parsing out what happens when you actually logistically get to the end of this thing, even though we both agree this was likely the outcome of the extension talks kind of in any world, right? So I don't even think we disagree, and I hear you completely. I think, the Lakers operate as if they always will be able to find the co-pilot, find the backup plan, find the other thing. And so it might be that there's a couple down years while AD's on a bloated salary and has a hard time staying on the court, and I don't think his game, as it currently looks, will age very well. I hear you on that. I think the fact that his jump shooting is still not where you want it to be makes it really hard to bet on whatever the mid-30s version of a player like that is going to be. An athlete-first defense guy, somebody who, his physicality is so fundamental to his game, all that stuff, that has to be considered. But where I kind of wanted to...
Well, can I just say one thing on a dollar figure amount? Richest annual extension in NBA history. It's $62 million a year annually.
Yeah.
It's just like, again,
until
we know the Caps.
Kawhi Leonard gets one in a month or whatever.
If Kawhi Leonard, Brennan, beats AD's extension, I really don't know what, like, that.
Well, it might not be him, but it's the same thing with Jaylen Brown. It's like it will be that until the next one.
Yeah. Look, these numbers just are making my brain hurt at this point. Is kind of my point. It's just like these numbers are so big. It's just crazy. Just crazy.
Let me pivot back to the coach, the timeline situation, and take us to the coaching side of this, because I do think there is something here that's interesting, which is the fact that the Lakers see Anthony Davis as worthy of the type of loyalty and sort of respect by way of paying you that they did not see Ty Lue as. Because once upon a time, the Lakers refused to give Ty Lue a contract that wasn't directly tied to LeBron's, right, in terms of years.
Mm-hmm.
And even after they won the championship in 2020 and both AD and LeBron get extensions, they're both for the same amount of time, basically. And so that honestly might be the most interesting part of this to me, is the fact that AD has sort of graduated into the stratosphere of how the Lakers view him, that he doesn't kind of have to be connected to LeBron, that they're not trying to give themselves an out from the Anthony Davis business as soon as LeBron has an exit path, which could come as soon as next summer. They're now saying, no, we're fine with Anthony Davis for 4 years beyond whatever we know about LeBron. That's a surprise.
I think you're right, and I think this is a reminder that the Lakers oftentimes are at the forefront of being a player-driven organization in a lot of ways, right? Like, other teams do this. I think particularly teams with the best players in the league do this, right? Like, you have a situation where, like, look, the Suns, I think they were willing to change coaches, right? Like, you have teams with really great players willing to change coaches now. Like, I mean, there's another universe where, like, Bud sticks around in Milwaukee and, like, they don't retool up there, right, in a different way. Or, like, Mike Malone is kind of not like an anomaly in that sense, right? Like, where like they don't stick with someone. The Lakers just have always kind of felt on, like, the extreme version of, like, the player first kind of thing in a lot of ways, and with, like, the star guys that go. I mean, it's kind of we're not going to talk about winning time on this episode. We're going to talk about that come next week. But like it goes back to like the DNA of the Jerry Buss ownership thing, which is like it's about the stars. It's about the coach is like sort of like a secondary piece in your whole thing. Even if I don't like if I was running an organization, I would not view that to be true. I don't really think that's like
you
an
would
alpha
view
way
a
to
coach
do
over a
business.
player.
No. I don't. I'm not even saying they're equal, but I'm saying I think like Ty Lue's value on like establishing a culture and making your team successful. It's like it has value that like it should maybe you shouldn't just have to tie it to like a star player. I guess is
to
my
me
point.
it's kind of
That's
like
my
both.
point.
Like both
Yeah,
Ty Lue
do
and
both.
Anthony Davis
Yes,
should be
yes.
extended for longer than LeBron, and they should be okay with that.
Yeah, but like Frank Vogel, it's like you win a title, like bye, brother. Like even though we did things that weren't like your fault, it's like that's the part of it where there's the disconnect. But I think you're right to say like it's like the Lakers in the last 15 years who have gotten this standing. It's LeBron, it's AD, and Kobe. Think about that for a second. Like that's the guys that have gotten this treatment from that organization. That's very telling about where they see AD right now, and that I find that really interesting. And it would make me scared to. It's a really interesting to see what he's going to look like at 35.
Yeah, and to tie bow on this, I mean, he's that whole part of it is very interesting. The fact that he's at that stature is maybe not how he's viewed around the league, which is part of why I bring it up, but it makes sense. I think it was where this was headed, and I think his game will age fine, just maybe not. Is he going to be an MVP candidate? No, and
No.
the injuries are a big concern. But again, just from the LeBron angle, it is another step in the direction of we are not going to organize everything around keeping you as happy and like we're not building a LeBron dream world with the Lakers. Our future is just as important as maximizing LeBron. And they've done a lot of things, not trading for Kyrie. Even the way that they approach their deadline deals. A lot of these things are with the future, at least in part, in mind.